Welcome into the live chat for this week's Open Championship, where we will spend the next shrug amount of time, however long it takes, to go through your questions, your concerns, your comments. They generally revolve around weather, DFS ownership, bets to make, one and done options, deep dives on specific golfers, everything you could possibly imagine. We'll try to do our best to get through. Get your questions, your concerns, your comments, get them in the chat right now. I will start. I'm just going to go in order, and I will eventually get to yours, assuming we haven't covered it already by the time that I get there. Now, there are a couple of places that I do like to start. I like to start with the weather, which is obviously very important for this week. I also like to start with ownership, and then we'll kind of go through your questions. So if you have questions about weather or one and done ownership, they're going to be here at the beginning of the show. I have intentionally waited on really diving into the weather for this week because it changes all the time. I want to make sure we're getting the most up-to-date information. So what you're looking at right now is Wind Finder. This is their super forecast. It is by the hour. This is right in Portrush for this week. And I'm just going to kind of look at this together with you. So the way that I see this, we've got winds between 10 and 17 miles an hour all day long, with gusts from 15 to 32 miles an hour. The worst of the wind appears to be late morning, early afternoon. So that is basically 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. local time is where the worst of the wind seems to be. It is also the time where any of the precipitation that's coming in is forecasted. So in total over those 5 hours, it's not a lot, a tenth of an inch, maybe a little bit more than that. It'll probably just be annoying if anything. And then after that 2 p.m. hour, things do seem to calm down a little bit, where you're getting winds down to 9 miles an hour, gusts to 20. So it does get a little bit more calm. So a little bit of a barbell there. Early on Thursday, late on Thursday seem to be better than the meat of Thursday. So let's combine that with Friday. Well, Friday morning seems to be the worst. Okay, so you are getting from about 5 a.m. till 11 a.m. winds between 12 and 16 miles an hour, with gusts from 16 to 22 miles an hour. In the afternoon, it appears like that is going to calm pretty significantly. So let's go back to Thursday, because it's going to be harder to find guys that don't get some level of exposure to the worst of the weather if this holds up, the worst of the weather on Thursday. So you're going to get guys that probably start the round and end with it, or start the round with it and end without it. So it's going to be hard to find guys there. However, I think it's a lot easier on Friday based on this forecast. You want the Friday afternoon guys, which means that you probably want the Thursday morning, Friday afternoon guys, right? That's the way that I'm reading this. Now, it is true, Friday afternoon does have more rain in the forecast, but it's, again, a tenth of an inch. It's kind of over an hour-long period, and then by the time you get to like 7 p.m., most of these guys are going to be off the golf course. So as of right now, with what I'm seeing, I think that you probably want Thursday morning, Friday afternoon. That's my opinion on that. You can, on my website, rickrungood.com, you can limit how many golfers you want from each of those. So, for example, if you want early, late, if you want AM, PM, you could say, give me at least 4 golfers from AM, PM, or at least 5 golfers, or I want all golfers from AM, PM. You could do it that way as well if you think there's going to be a significant weather wave. So again, as of right now, I like early, late, AM, PM. Okay. So that's part 1 that we will get out of the way. Part 2 that we will get out of the way is the projected one and done ownership. This drives a lot of the conversation around ownership. There's going to be like 900 questions about ownership, or excuse me, about one and done. This drives the vast majority of those questions, because we'll know where to strategize from there. No surprise, the top 2 golfers are live golfers. They're still available. This is the last chance you get to use them. So Jon Rahm, 25%, Tyrrell Hatton, 21%. Rory McIlroy is 11%. So pretty big gap there. And then Victor Hovland is at 9.9%. So those are your 4 golfers at 10 or more. Pretty sizable gap to Xander at 7%. And then everybody else is 6% or lower. So that is the baseline of what we have here. And we will use this information to answer some of the questions that you are getting or that we will have throughout the show. One other item before I get too deep into this, I want to remind you that right now, DraftKings is giving new customers a chance to play for free for their share of millions in prizes with their first deposit on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app. Simple to play, build your dream lineup, stay under the $50,000 cap, and sit back and watch those points rack in. All you have to do is download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter promo code RickDFS to play free for your share of millions in prizes. Again, it's RickDFS for new DraftKings customers. Just download the Daily Fantasy app for your free shot today. The crown is yours. Armina hates when I say the crown is yours. She thinks, yeah, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say it. No, I think I do. And now I just say it because she hates it. All right, we are about to get to all of your questions, but there is a timely item here. I'm actually going to refresh this because I think we are running out of spots. Wow. Okay. I just refreshed that from 5 minutes ago and we are almost done. The tiers contest, the Rick Run Good Listener League that has $60,000 of guaranteed prizes is less than 100 spots away from being full. That was like 200 when I just refreshed it 5 minutes ago. So there's less than 100 spots left. It's $50 an entry. All $60,000 is guaranteed. Someone's going to win $15,000. Someone's going to win $5,000, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to fill very, very early. So if you want a chance at that, you better go over there and get that right now because it'll be full by the time this show is over. All right. Let's boogie. Oh boy, look at all these questions, you dogs. It's a Thursday, it's a work day. You guys are probably working and sending in your questions. Oh, you dogs. All right. Lamb had the first question, but I'm going to save that. I have it starred, Lamb. I'm going to get to you here. Tyler says, hey, Rick, question for you. Who do you like in the range of Sepp, JT, or Hatton? Let's see. All right, here we go. Everything else you see from this point forward is probably from my website, rickrungood.com. So we are comparing Sepp Straka, JT, and Hatton. I am probably warm on all of those guys. The Sepp Straka stuff, I think he is fair. I think there's a really good chance that he plays well. If you look at some of the advanced metrics or some of the radar data, the way that he hits it straight, the way that he hits it relatively low compared to his peers, I think is going to be valuable. I love the way that he's kind of fought back a little bit. He has not had his best stuff over the course of the last couple of starts, but he's kind of just getting the job done a little bit, of patchwork, so to speak, but I do like the way that he sets up. Tyrrell Hatton, I think is fine. He is playing golf. Like he is playing exactly as we expected him to be leading into this Open Championship for the entirety of the year. He played well at Valderrama last week. His tee to green numbers are splendid. Yes, I have the live strokes gain numbers. Yes, I have the DP World Tour strokes gain numbers. I have data deals with everybody. It's all there. Yes, I have the new radar data with shot shapes, and I had to put in these icons because you guys are freaking out, and I was freaking out, and everybody was freaking out, but this is what I decided on. Yes, I have all of that. But JT is kind of the interesting one. And I don't know what it is about Justin Thomas that has, over the last 3 days, warmed so much for me. But I look at a golfer who has gained strokes with the putter for 10 straight starts, probably the first time in his career. I'll go and look at that later. T9 at the Travelers, T22 at the Scottish in his last 2. A complete gain at both of those events. His links history is not great, though you'd think it would be better because he has such a stout short game. There's an opportunity where he's not going to have to hit a bunch of drivers around this place. As the week has gone on, I have just gotten a lot warmer on Justin Thomas. So, yeah, I think that's the answer to your question there, Tyler. Good luck. Currently in the top 25 of a 3,700 person one and done pool, Xander or Tommy Ladd. Ooh, I would play Xander. Good luck. Westwood for the win. I don't think so. If your one and done has East Lake on the schedule with a signature event style payout, how would you roll Rory at excuse me. No, I would wait for Rory at East Lake. Rory at Eastlake is disgustingly good. So if you're getting a basically signature event stuff and he's got to play all 4 rounds starting from even par, then yeah, you probably should just save Rory. I mean, listen, Open Championships in general are volatile things, right? I wouldn't. Yes, I'd be surprised if Rory missed the cut. Yes, I'd be surprised if Scotty missed the cut or whatever. But of all the other major championships, this is the one I'd be the least surprised with. Rory's record at Eastlake is unreal. A bunch of victories, a bunch of top 10 finishes. Obviously, these are small fields, but just I look at the strokes gained numbers. The dude's an animal. So yes, I would be saving. I would be saving Rory. Last guy in, pick one: Cam Smith, English, Hall, or Penge. It is either Hall. Excuse me. It is either English or Penge for me. We'll do the Marco Penge thing first. So Marco, it was a big topic of conversation last week. He was very cheap. He ended up finishing in a tie for second. He is still very cheap. He's only $6,000. The thing is, he won in China. Then, since then, he has basically not finished outside the top 25. The finishes are getting better. He played well at the PGA Championship. He obviously played well at the Scottish Open last week. He drives the ball a mile, and he has a very good tee to green game. I love Marco. The other thing, though, I think that Harris English is one of the more mispriced golfers. You know, he is such a well-rounded player. He does not make a lot of bogeys. I understand his links history is not super sharp, but he hasn't missed a cut since Bay Hill. He's won this year. He's just putting together a bunch of really good finishes. 4th at the Travelers, 22nd at the Scottish Open. I think he's pretty mispriced. So those two would be certainly good options for me. Oh boy. Favorite 5K play. All right, let's go down to the 5Ks. So there's a couple of really interesting guys at $5,900. Christopher Reeton is $5,900. Again, he was a pretty good topic of conversation last week, and he paid off T13. He's another one of these guys that has been on that great stretch of golf on the DP World Tour. He wins the Sodal Open. He finishes 2nd at the Austrian, 13th at the KLM. I mean, this is really, really good stuff. Again, another found a solid tee to green player. So I think he's a good option. I think that Haotong is a pretty good option. Haotong Lee's $5,700. He's been playing on the DP World Tour. He's been playing a lot better. It is a little bit worrisome about what he's doing around the greens because I do think you're going to need that this week. The lowest I would go. Oh boy. We're getting to Open qualifiers and past champions here. The lowest I'd really feel okay with, it might be Haotong at 5,700. Grazerman at 59, Reeton at 59, I think are the two best plays in there. What do you think about Hatton or Hovland for one and done? If you have Hovland available, I think you should use him. You have to be comfortable not using Hatton. It also depends on your position a little bit. So going back to this, if you are front running and those are your two options, play Hatton. If you're trying to make up ground and those are your two options, play Hovland. Let's do the deep dive on Sam Burns here, Joey. That's an interesting one because obviously he had the close call at Oakmont and probably should have won there, right? And he bounced back pretty quickly. T17 at the Travelers, T47 at the Scottish. His Open Championship history is not very good. He has not driven it well at open venues. I'm not going to beat him up too much for that because it's a variety of different courses, and he's a pretty good driver of the golf ball. I would say I want to look at, actually, let me look at his radar real quick. I think I'm warm, not hot on Sam Burns, something to the effect of like a 6.5 out of 10. Has a go-to shot, which can be good or bad. Hits that high fade, that high to medium fade. I did switch these, by the way. It was a whole thing. The best putting year of his career. I think there's a path for Sam Burns having a decent week. I don't think he's going to be in contention to win the golf tournament. So take that accordingly. Taking a heavy swing on Xander to finish inside the top 10. Okay, that's not a question, but I am going to use this as an opportunity to talk about the Xander Schauffele stuff. So we're going to pull up his radar. We're going to pull up his stat profile. There's a couple of things that we can talk about. Number one, he's one of the stronger, one of the farther, what am I trying to say? Longest hitters in this field, 183 miles an hour of ball speed. It puts him like 12th in this field. It's long. He is also a worker of the golf ball. Look, he's got 6 different windows in which he is hitting 9% of the time or more. So he can work it left to right. He can work it right to left. He can hit it kind of straight when he needs to. That could come in handy around Portrush. The other thing is his major championship record is kind of nuts, right? It's a bunch of these top 10 finishes which is what the actual question was in regards to, or the comment was in regards to, is into these top 10s. I know that I can't quit this guy. I have had a lot of exposure to Xander this year. It has not paid off in the outright market. It's paid off in other places, but he's coming off the T8 at the Scottish where he gained 9 strokes on approach. Like I can't quit him. I can't quit him. And I think this is a good spot for him. So Aaron, Ryan, Cam Smith. Let's go to Cam Smith because, that is somebody who we don't talk about a lot. He has missed all 3 major championship cuts this year, which is obviously not good. He's also missed 4 in a row, which is obviously not good. His last 6 have not been good. The problem with Cam, and this was always kind of the problem with him on the PGA Tour as well, is that he was very reliant on being the best short game player in the world. He is still a very good high-end short game player. He's not the best in the world, and the results are tied so closely to that. It creates a path, to the top of the board that is very, very narrow for him. He's going to lose strokes off the tee. And around Portrush, you're going to get penalized pretty bad for that. He is probably going to lose strokes on approach. Again, he's going to have to be the best short game player in the field, and I still think it limits his upside. So pretty worried about the way that Cam Smith sets up for this week. Can you give 1 to 2 lower owned pivots? Okay, so let's go to the custom model here. We'll look at some of the projected ownership numbers. So I'll sort this by salary. So in the upper range, you're probably just playing the guy that you want here because the pivot is to Bryson, but if that's not where you're comfortable going, I understand, and it's 10%, you could go to Rory instead. Seems like Rahm and Scotty are going to be carrying the ownership in the top of that range. The 9s, which is again a very small range, is a lot of Tommy Fleetwood. I would not mind going to I don't particularly want to get to Shane Lowry. I don't particularly want to get to Robert McIntyre. I would take a small discount to go to Ludwig there, just a couple of percentage points. The 8K range, a lot of Victor Hovland. If you don't want to go to Victor Hovland, I think you go you go up to Justin Thomas, who's probably coming in at about half of that number. The 7s, there is a lot more golfers in the 7K range. Seeing Matt Fitzpatrick and Russell Henley along with Sepp Straka gaining some steam here. I would not mind Cameron Young. I would not mind Ryan Fox. The 6K range, not a ton of guys collecting a lot of ownership. Keegan's a little bit popular. Wouldn't mind Akshay. Wouldn't mind Daniel Berger. And then let me just see if there's anything else down here. McKibben's getting 7%. Oh, like Tristan Lawrence, if you wanted to get away from Harris English at 2%, I think is pretty interesting. Haven't heard much about Finau this week. Okay, let's look at Finau, who I don't think you're going to be too excited about when I look at it. Let's see. Oof. Not good when your best skill set is your driver and you've lost 3 strokes off the tee at the Memorial, 4 at Oakmont, and 6 at the Travelers. That's kind of just a hard stop, right? So if your best weapon is cooked, that's usually a very, very big concern. Then you've also got the putter problem. You've also got the fact that he hasn't been particularly good at Opens recently. Did finish 3rd here at Portrush, but that feels like a long time ago based on the stats that we've seen. He is also one of the guys, I think, and I guess I should wait to pull up the numbers before I say this, but when I looked at Finau earlier this year, he was pretty much trending down in a lot of categories here. So let's see. Yeah, he's not as fast off the tee anymore, which is not a concern. But he, everybody in the world, he's still at 180 miles an hour ball speed, which is a ton. But everybody in the world has gotten longer since 2020, and Tony's maybe he's towards the end of his prime. That's okay. He's shorter than he was last year, pretty significantly at eight yards less. He's only at 291 now. He's also playing like some different shot shapes. It kind of looks like he's lost a little bit. And yeah, I think he's lost a little bit. Can we see which golfers have the best course fit? So this is a little bit, I don't want to say wonky, but I will show you. But I want to make some caveats to this. So this is the course key stats on my website. So what I had to do, we only have one modern year of Portrush, right? 2019. So what I did is I took 2019, I took comparable RNA venues, I put in some numbers from satellite imagery, and this is what I came up with, right? It's a profile that loves accuracy and distance. It loves total driving. It loves around the green play. It loves greens in regulation. Scotty gets the best adjusted fit. Bryson gets the second best. John Rahm gets the third. Then you get some guys like Marco Penge, Christopher Reeton, Joaquin Niemann, Chris Gotterup, Jordan Smith, Rory checking in. Again, these are like boosts. I like Patrick Reed this week. Can you do a deep dive? So Patrick Reed is a gamer. Patrick Reed finds a way, even on golf courses that should not fit his skill set, to work his way up to the top of the leaderboard. If you look at what he has done as of late, he just won a live golf event. He finished 10th at Valderrama, which is a very difficult golf course. When he has his good stuff, he is in the mix. The third at the Masters, he made the cut and finished inside the top 25 at the US Open as well. He's only missed one cut at a major championship since 2022. It was the PGA at Quail Hollow. His numbers, his strokes gained numbers at these majors have been very good. Finds a way to pick up strokes off the tee, finds a way to pick up strokes on approach. I don't think he's going to win. I think he's going to battle for 4 rounds. I think his average finish is like T26. Steven asked, like, who have you warmed on and who have you faded on? So I think over the course of the week, JT is definitely the guy that I've warmed on. Morikawa is probably the guy that I've been a little bit worried about. The putter is a problem. I kind of think the mentality is a problem. His history at Opens, I mean, Royal St. George's is the southernmost. It's the southernmost Open. It's a completely different style of Open Championship. They had no wind, just perfect conditions, which is not his fault. He won the golf tournament. But I am I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried about Colin. Thoughts on Rose. So here's Justin Rose. I think Justin Rose is a really good, and there's another question. There's another question about, like, hey, who's the savvy vet that pops to mind? And the two guys that pop to mind for me are Justin Rose and Adam Scott. And I'll tell you why that is in just a second. But Rose is the perfect guy where if you're looking for, like, hey, I'm willing to take on a little bit of risk, but in return for that risk, I want a guy who can legitimately finish inside the top 10. That's Justin Rose. He only has 4 top 40s this year. 4 top 40s this year. But they're all awesome finishes. 3rd at Pebble, 8th at Bay Hill, runner-up in a playoff at Augusta National, and 6th at the Scottish Open last week. So when he is playing great, he could legitimately win golf tournaments, and I actually think could win major championships. An Open Championship is great for savvy vets, right? It is a precision. It is a patience. It is a test of attrition. It is not always a who's the best raw player, who's got the best skill set. Justin Rose finished runner-up at the Open last year. He finished 20th at Portrush in 2019. He's missed one cut at an Open since Liverpool in 2014. And he's got a handful of top 10s there. So I think he's that perfect high risk, high reward. Adam Scott is probably higher floor, lower ceiling. He's one of the few guys, he and Ryan Fox, who can hit it long and hit it low. Oh, and he turned 45 today. Don't you love finding an Easter egg on rickrungood.com when you're on the golfer profile? He doesn't look a day over 25. Adam Scott, happy birthday to you. Oh, my goodness. He and Ryan Fox are the two guys who hit it far and hit it low. And if you think that is valuable in wind, he is valuable. I think his ceiling is lower. I think his floor is higher than Justin Rose's. Do you think Victor Hovland's around the green play will be a problem for this week? Yes, it could. Yes, it very much could. The truth of the matter is that if he hits enough greens, as he's been the second best approach player in the world in the last 36 rounds, I'm assuming that's correct. I think it's Scotty, and then I think it's Victor. Yeah, it is. If you hit enough greens, this doesn't matter as much. There is also going to be a variety of shots, but there's also going to be a variety of solutions. So there's going to be shots that come out of short grass. There's going to be shots that come out of that like funky little first cut where it's, very rough and rugged. There's going to be thicker fescue stuff, and there's going to be bunker shots. But there's also a lot of different types of shots that you can play. If he wants to bump an 8-iron, he can bump an 8-iron. If he wants to use his putter, there are going to be spots where he's going to use his putter. He often opts for that when it is an option for him. It won't always be an option, but it'll be an option. Yes, it's going to be a problem, but I don't think it's going to be like TPC Summerlin of a problem where it's all just like a bunch of short grass spots. So yes, it would be the one thing keeping him from winning this golf tournament. Are you in on Batia or Tom Kim at all? Or guys who are young and creative? Akshay, yeah, I mean, both of them to an extent. I think Tom Kim has at least given us enough proof that he can play link style golf very well. And we're starting to see some ball striking improvements. After basically a half a year losing strokes on approach, he picked up 5 in 2 rounds at the John Deere, and he picked up 7 in 4 rounds at the Scottish Open. We still have problems other places. We've got off the tee problems. We've got problems. Okay. But he's also found a way to be very good at Opens and Scottish Opens and just playing link style golf in general. So I think that of the two that you named, that is probably the most interesting. Tom McKibben, you're going to hear a lot because he's from the same town that Rory McIlroy is from in Northern Ireland. You're going to hear about how he's played this golf course 100 times or whatever it is. I don't necessarily care about that. I care about how damn good he is. He has gained strokes off the tee in every event dating back to the Nedbank. Now, these are mostly LIV and DP World Tour events. It also includes the PGA Championship. So, yes, these are calculated a little bit differently because of how they collect the data, but it is still a very good reference point for how good he is off the tee. He's kind of crushing LIV golf this year on LIV. So let's just pull this up real quick. Tours, sort by LIV. He's got it's almost all top 15s. T15, T7, T6, T25, T14. I was going to say he's never missed a cut, but my brain just went that way. His worst finish is a 47th. His last 2 are a 5th and a 4th. Very, very solid stuff here. You throw in the made cut in the top, the made cut at the PGA Championship and the top finishes at some of these DP World Tour events as well, and you've got a pretty sound golfer. Played at the Open last year, finished 66th. One spot out of the money. Oh, for the segment, I've got Hatton, Victor, Bobby Mack. Oh, you should probably just play Hatton then. If you're just trying to go up one spot to get the segment money, you should probably play Hatton. I think the winning score is going to be 12 under. The other thing is the winning score will be low, will be pretty double digits under par because it'll be wet. but there's going to be a wide range of scores. It's the same thing we saw in 2019. Shane Lowry breaks shoots the 54-hole scoring record. He ends up at 15 under par. There were guys that ejected from that golf tournament. All right. This is not a fair golf course. You're going to hit great shots that are not rewarded, and you're going to hit great shots that are punished, and vice versa, right? You're going to hit bad shots that get lucky. So there are going to be guys that are just on the wrong end of that. You're going to see a very, very wide range of scores here, but I think the winning score is like 12 under par, something in that range. Nikolai and Rasmus are very, very equal right now, but let's look at Nikolai, who has played very good golf. He's trying to work himself into that Ryder Cup spot again. So T24, T4 in his last two. Seeing his best tee to green numbers for basically since the start of this year. He was really good at the end of 2024. We're in the best tee to green stretch of his year. We're in the best putting stretch of his year. I'm quite warm on Nikolai, who has played 4 opens. Looks like 3 as a pro, and he has made all 3 of those cuts. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to this question from Lamb, because I saw there were a couple of questions in regards to running a model. So that is what we will do right now. We're going to run some models. So it says, hey, Rick, can you build a custom model primarily around greens and regulations, scrambling, links, course history, and a key stat of your choosing 25 on each? Okay, so let's do this. Let's put 25 on greens and regulation, 25 on scrambling, 25 on open course history, and then I'm going to put my 25 on last 36 or weighted strokes gained total, because we have a lot of guys from a lot of different tours here. So this is a combination of mine and Lamb's model. Scotty 1, Rory 2, Rahm 3. Easy game. Victor 4, Russell Henley 5, Shane Lowry 6, Patrick Cantlay 7, Matt Fitzpatrick, Dan Brown, Siwoo Kim round out our top 10. Good luck. Let me hit some of these other, these are super chats, which are always appreciated, never required. At what ownership do you get off 6K chalk? Let's actually look at what I've got 1,000 tabs open. What the 6K chalk actually is. So this is from Brian. Thank you, Brian. So Harris English appears to be the most popular player in the 6K range, along with Maverick McNeely and Marco Penge. 9.5%. I'll tell you what, Brian, that's not that big of a deterrent to me. There's so many guys in this range. There's so many guys in the 7K range. If this was 15%, I'd probably feel differently about it. I also think that if there's a guy you really think is mispriced, which I think Harris English could be that guy, or Marco Penge could be that guy, that if you really like him, I prefer to get different in other places. So I will say this is not a deterrent to me. 15%, I would be having a different conversation. Chris says, just some cash for the human fund. Thank you. Finally, money for people. Thanks for answering all the questions. Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated. All right, let me get back, see if I can find my spot again. This just says, when does this chat start? Oh, it started. Here's another model. This is where I left off. Hey, Rick, would you mind running a model, please? 20 on each of the following. Okay, so this is going to be John's model. John's model. We're going 20 on driving accuracy. We are going 20 on approaches from 175 to 200. We're going 20 on bogey avoidance, 20 on scrambling, and 20 on open history. So if you like John's model, his results are as follows. Scotty number 1, which should be the name of the show. Scotty number 1. Siwoo Kim makes an appearance at number 2. John Rahm, Harris English, Aaron Rye, Sam Burns, Matty Fitz, Ricky Fowler, Tommy Fleetwood, and Mackenzie Hughes. Very different model. Good on you, John. I'm second in my one and done Second out of 200 in my one and done. 2.2 million behind. I have Xander, Hatton, Bobby Mack. He only has Hatton of that group left. Still feel like I go X here. Yeah, baby. Fire up the old X-Man. Let's see what else we got. Whoops. Sorry. Tell me how Adam Scott wins this tournament. Probably doesn't, but it will come via long, low shots off the tee and patience and experience, but he probably doesn't win this golf tournament. Cam Young versus Ben Griffin. The disrespect. The pure disrespect for maybe the best player in 2025, not named Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. I'm talking about Ben Griffin. Everybody in this field across all tours. So I'm throwing in European Tour. I'm throwing in Senior Tour. I don't even care. Ben Griffin is the 7th best player in this field over the last 36 rounds. Ben Griffin has done nothing but complete gains for like 9 starts in a row. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but the fact that you don't know if that's an exaggeration or not tells you it's not much of one. The finishes have been awesome. He's been in Scotland playing link-style golf since he left the John Deere. The miscut at the John Deere was the best, most bizarre miscut I've ever seen. He makes double on 8, bogey on 9, his final 2 rounds of the day. He has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 72, 7, 35, 420, 432 minus 30, 432. Crap. He's played like 430 of his last 432 holes have been awesome. He's played 2 bad holes going back to the PGA Championship is basically where I'm going with this. And I just love him. The Griff. Should be wearing his shades in his headshot. Pretty criminal that he's not. Nick Taylor deep dive. I would like to do that because I was pretty stoked about Nick heading into Sunday or heading into the weekend last week. And I kind of want to see what happened. Okay. So struggled on Saturday, played much better on Sunday. This is a very, very good Nick Taylor profile. We've got positive strokes gained on approach in every event dating back to the Truist. We've got the putter back. We've got the driver back. What's he done at Opens? Probably not much. Yeah, 2 missed cuts in a row. He's only played 2 Opens. That's kind of crazy. Did hit it. See, this is okay. So he got to Troon last year. That was during the slump, wasn't it? Where he lost 4 strokes putting last year. He still gained 3 strokes tee to green at Troon. I like Nick Taylor a lot. $6,000 is, I'm going to favorite him because that's very, very cheap. I'm going to pick 2. Would you use Hatton or Fleetwood? So do you have to pick 2 this week or every week? Okay, let's just say if you have to pick 2 just this week, this depends on your position. But if you're using Hatton and Fleetwood, only one other has to. Oh, okay. Then I think you use Fleetwood. Assuming you're not, I think you should. I don't have all the information for that, John, but I think you use Fleetwood. Kevin Yu, to you or not to you? That is the question. He's $5,800. Kevin Yu, what does Kevin Yu do well? He just absolutely knocks the cover off the golf ball. What does he do poorly? Actually, not that much anymore. Can we give Kevin Yu a shout for improving his putting? This dude was team no putt. He gained strokes at the PGA Championship, Canadian Open, Travelers, John Deere, Scottish, all but once in his last 6. Wowza. What's his Open? I bet you his Open Championship stuff. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Okay, I mean, $5,800 is nothing. We don't need him to win. And everybody else in that 5K range kind of stinks. So, yeah, let's go with you. The question is it possible like that somebody like Hideki could club down? Yes. The word of the week is options, Garrett. Options is what this golf course gives you. You could hit 3-iron off every tee. You could hit driver off every tee. You could do a combination. It'll be about discipline and if these guys will play to their strengths or not. So yes, it is possible. Like, I mean, I have no confidence that JT is going to snap his driver over his knee, but in theory he could, and that would be great for him. Do you think a balanced DFS line? So I will tell you what, I did a lot of running lineups, and let's just do this together for just a quick exercise here. So I'm going to go to the custom model. Like, let's just use, I'm just going to use projected points. So this is just my projected points model. Let's run 150 lineups with 10% randomness. Like, let's just see what starts coming out. Okay. And I've got no other restrictions on anything. And you're just getting a ton of Scotty Scheffler, right? He's going to be in is he going to be in every single lineup? You're getting a lot of Benny On. You're getting a lot of Sepp Straka. You're getting a lot of Patrick Reed. You're getting a lot of Steven Yeager. Just trying to see where this continues to go here. But it's easy to make lineups with Scotty Scheffler on the basis of his floor and on fantasy points. But if you remove Scotty and do the same exercise here, look at the lineups that you're going to start to generate. Rahm, Xander, Colin, Fitzpatrick, Goddard, McCarthy was the first one that fired off here. Now you're getting 70% of your lineups with Rahm, Colin, and Xander. That's a pretty good start. What if you just skip the 10K range in general? Because this is where things really started to get kind of nuts here. Because I started running, just seeing what you could start building if you skipped. And actually, like, let's just get rid of Colin too. If you don't like Colin, let's get rid of Colin. You're starting to get some pretty insane lineups here. You can get a lot of Ludwig, Xander, Lowry, Cantlay. You can get a lot of Ben Griffin in these lineups. Obviously, he's very cheap. The where I'm going with this is I was pretty appealed by the balanced lineups. I did not play as much Scotty as I originally thought I was going to play. I played a lot more Rahm and balanced builds. Philip says, bring on the wing data. How does the new info handle the issue you always had with gusts and constant wind? All right, real quick. So I'll hop on my soapbox here. I sent this out in my newsletter. I have always been hesitant to have wind data in my database. Not hesitant. I've always been hesitant about wind data that's existed. And that is because I've always felt like it did not properly show you like how wind impacts golf, right? Wind is not just like it's always going to be 10 miles an hour. It's always going to be 15 miles an hour. There's a directional issue. A lot of the data that was being provided was people just going back and grabbing historical averages from like the location that we like. That's garbage. So I've always kind of railed against wind stuff. The new update on rickrungood.com is going to include some wind data. And the reason for that is because I've now feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm proud enough to share this, right? And put my name behind it. So this is radar calculated wind, speed, and eventually direction at the time the shot was hit. That's as good as I can get right now. And I think it's good. Philip is right. There are still gust issues. There are still directional issues. There are still issues. But now with the data that I have that is shot shape based and moment based, I'm comfortable adding it to the database. Will I use this as gospel? No. Will I use it as reference? Yes. The best players in this field in wind that's over 10 miles an hour: Scotty, Rory, JT, Keegan, Sepp, Russell Henley, Hideki Matsuyama, Ryan Fox. What do they all have in common? Fox hits it very low. Henley hits it very low. Straka hits it very straight. Keegan's a great ball striker. Some of those other guys are just the best players in the world no matter what. If I'm skipping your question, either I'll come back to it or I won't, or we've already talked about it, which is very good. Can you pick two of the following? Henley, Fitzpatrick, Spieth, Sepp, Ben Griffin, Cam Young. I have no idea what this is for or what the scoring system is, but in a vacuum, Henley and Spieth. Why is McNeely getting steam? Let's do the deep dive on McNeely. Maverick, McNeely, number 2. Derek Jeter. Well, I'll tell you what, he's played pretty good golf. He's played really good golf. Very strong off the tee. He's a very good putter. He's actually had a couple of very bad weeks, which is weird. Yeah, he's just above average everywhere. I don't see anything that's super exciting here. He's only played this event twice. He's missed the cut twice. Yeah, I think he's good, not great. I don't know. Also, he's $6,100. I guess that's the problem. So I guess if we just do it like this, like let's just watch this. I bet you if we do last 36 rounds for everybody on the PGA Tour in terms of strokes gained total, I bet you Maverick McNeely shows up pretty high on this list, at least relative to his salary. Yeah, here it is. $6,100. He's 21st. So pretty good. Safest pick in the 7K to make the cut. Kind of think it might be Adam Scott. Can anybody get me off of Adam Scott in that conversation? Adam Scott or Russell Henley? Adam Scott? Can you make a model? I mean, yes, I can. This is Chris's model. All right, Chris, we're going to run your model here, buddy. Last 50 rounds, baby. Okay. 25 on driving accuracy. 25 on scrambling. 25 greens in regulation. 25 putting on slow greens. Also, I will say, we're still at slow, but these are getting dangerously close to medium greens. The stimp reading yesterday was 10.81, 10 feet 8 inches on the stimp on the greens. That was the official reading, which once you start getting into 11 and once you it's starting to get to medium. Now we'll see what they do with it over the course of the week, but they're not super slow. We'll see. Chris's model: Stuart Sink, Bryson, Scotty, John Rahm, Russell Henley, Justin Suh, Matt McCarty, Nathan Kimsey, sure, Harris English, and Thorbjorn Olsen. Can you rank these three? Rosner, Lee, Reeton? Probably Rosner, Reeton, Houghton. Real quick on Rosner. First off, dude's a stud. Hasn't missed a cut since the American Express. That was in January. A lot of really strong finishes. A lot of really good profiles here. He's been playing on the PGA Tour every single week except in Qatar, which he finished 4th. Kind of love this guy. Finished T20 at his last Open, which was at Liverpool in 23. Kind of loving him. Hey, Rick, really liked the piece in your newsletter that highlighted long drivers with low apex given the expected weather. Where can we go on your site? To see that? Go to the radar tool. It's new. I launched it last week. It'll drop you off here, which is on these golfer profile pages. If you click view leaders, it'll take you to everybody in this field, or you could look at everybody on tour. It's a minimum of 200 drives to be qualified. So you could load everybody. So for this purpose, what did I did? Yeah, I did long and low. So sort by apex, and you'll sort by low, right? So you've got the lowest hitters are Takumi Kanaya, Matteo Manassero, Brian Campbell. Those are all short hitters. So now let's look at guys that start to get into ball speed with low. Maverick McNeely, 177 ball speed, 89 feet. Matt Fitzpatrick, 178 ball speed, 90 feet apex. Here's the ones that you pointed out. Ryan Fox and Adam Scott, 180 ball speed, still below 100 feet of apex. Vegas is close. Gotterup is close. Yeah, so you can mess around with this any way that you want. But it's on that view leaders tab. Rick Staffer. Hello, Andrew. How do we think Gotterup fits this week? How do we think Gotterup fits this week, or how do we think Gotterup's going to play this week? The dude hits it low. He hits it long. That's good. This is mostly a kind of like a mental thing, right? What do we expect him to do after coming off the win? I think that already being on the road, already being kind of in it, already playing link style golf is good. Most of these guys get a big win and then there is some type of slump. His run this year has been awesome. We have talked about Chris Gotterup probably more than any other player this year. And he has got a baseline off the tee. He's very well rounded. He's got 3 complete gains in a row. I'm pretty warm on Chris Gotterup, $6,900. Which group do you prefer? Scotty, Hovland, and Adam Scott, or Rory, Rahm, and Russell Henley? Ooh. Rory, Rahm, Henley. Cam Smith, I think is because I don't think he's going to play well. Currently leading our one and done. You should just play Hatton. So it's Hovland, Hovland, and Xander. Play Hatton. Is Glover worth a flyer? I think the answer is no, but I'm going to do my due diligence here, Wes, for you, and I will pull up his profile and we will look at it together. But I'm pretty sure the answer is no. Let's start with his open record. Miscut, 20th, miscut, 12th, 48th, miscut. Okay, that's not very good. Let's see what he's done recently. Very good to John Deere, very good to Travelers. The problem is we knew he was going to play well there, right? Like the places, I've said this before, Lucas Glover is a course horse. The places he plays well, he always plays well. The places he plays poorly, he always plays poorly. He rarely surprises us. I believe this would be a surprise if he played well. Safer guys to make the cut. All right. How low do you want me to go? I would say Henley. I would say Straka, Adam Scott. I think Cam Young, Aaron Rye. I'm going to keep going. Pendrith, Harry Hall, and I might Denny McCarthy, and I probably want to stop there. Nick Taylor. 13 out of 150 in my one and done. Top 12 is the money. Play has to be Rahm, right? And then run Hovland, Xander, Rory in the playoffs versus burning Rory here. You are correct, Chris. Struggling with my tier picks. Pick one from each tier. Okay, so options are Hatton, Henley, Straka, Fitzpatrick. I would take. It kind of depends on who you took in the other tier, though. If you took Scotty, don't take Hatton. If you didn't take Scotty, take Hatton. Tier 3, take Griffin. Tier 4, take English. Yes, Kyle, that is the cut man behind me, and he is faux neon. It's LED. I control him with my phone. It's not real neon. Real neon's expensive and dangerous. It's just an LED strip. There's a guy on Twitter. You might follow him. It's Athlete Logos. He does a lot of design stuff for honestly, the New York Mets and stuff. But one of the things he also does is he makes custom signs, and or at least designs them because it came from China. But it got here very fast, and it connects to my phone, and I can turn them on and off. I can make them flicker. I can't change the color. You have to decide on one color. But yes, it's available. If you want a cut man, I guess you could probably just go to him. He probably has the file on a template, but I don't sell them or anything like that. Let's do I saved up a couple of Cam Young questions. Let's do the Cam Young conversation. Whether you like it or not, and the answer is I don't like it, Cam Young's playing a lot better golf. The stuff that we saw from his rookie year, we're getting pretty close to that. Driver's awesome. Putter's awesome. He's good enough on approach, kind of. The approach play is a problem. His Open Championship record is pristine. Runner-up 8th and 31st. He's a different player. He's playing a lot better. I'm warm. Definitely warm. I've answered a lot of these, mate. one of Robert McIntyre. Again, I don't know what this is for. I probably shouldn't even have clicked this, but one of McIntyre, Spieth, JT, Fitz, Henley, or Cantlay. It's a pretty wide range. I guess JT, but I don't know what you're looking for. Can we do the Jordan? Like, can I just do the Jordan Spieth deep dive? I'm like dying to do the Jordan Spieth deep dive. So everybody in this field at Opens in the last 10 years, average strokes gained, it is Xander, it is Spieth. 1, 2. Everything. Actually, I'll show you the radar because I think we can find some good stuff in the radar for Spieth. Loves to hit it low, by the way. Rarely goes high. 10% of the time he goes high. That's it. 90% he is mid or low. And in fact, he goes low like half the time. Naturally. That's his natural shot shape. He's not trying to do that. But look at what we've got here. So we've got basically last year and this year is the best he's ever driven it. We've got his best approach year since 2023. We've got one of his best around the green years. We've got his best putting year since 2022 or 2021. We have his best year in general since 2021. Okay. That's his best year in general. I just think that this is an excellent spot for him. Excellent. I love that I've answered so many of these. Okay, we have not done the Ludwig thing yet. Ludwig is Justin Rose on crack. Okay. Of the top players, I think that Ludwig's floor is as low as it gets and his ceiling is as high as it gets of the top players, right? I don't think he has his major championship record, which started unbelievably with the runner-up at the Masters. He's missed 4 cuts in 7 starts. The other 3 are top 12s. We have seen him look like an undeniable number 1 player in the world in the future. Robot, and we have seen him do the stupidest things I've ever seen him do. I love him this week. And I love him I think he could win this week. Okay. Absolutely was thrilled with what I saw at the Scottish Open. The tee to green numbers were splendid. It was a complete gain. It was his first complete gain since the Masters. I'm in on Ludi, but that floor is low. I feel like Patrick Cantlay has ghosted the PGA Tour. He's actually been good. He hasn't been great, and he hasn't contended anywhere. But he's having a very good year. I don't even know. I don't look this stuff up because I don't really care. But I bet he's made like $7 million this year. So maybe, I don't know, maybe $5 million. But he's having a great year, but he's never contended once. It hasn't been amazing. Boy, it's very, 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 very bizarre. This is that question I was alluding to about KG Vets. Sitting on the bubble in a 3-and-done major. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, I know that. Okay. So, can I play Hall, Reed, and Fitzpatrick? Your other option is Lowry, Ludwig, and Hovland. I think you should play that thing. I think you should play that. Or if you want to swap Fitzpatrick for Lowry and play Fitzpatrick, Ludwig, Hovland, I think you should probably do that. Five guys you can confidently say will make the top 20, excluding Scotty and Rory. I mean, that doesn't exist, but let's entertain this. 5 guys that I can confidently say are going to make the top 20. Xander, Fleetwood, Hovland, Henley, Spieth. How realistic that Phil Mickelson can play well this week? Probably not, but I will do my due diligence and I will pull up Phil Mickelson's profile. The fact of the matter is this. Phil Mickelson is not good at golf anymore. Okay? And that's not a knock against Phil. Tiger Woods is also not good at golf anymore. Right? Like, that's okay. They're old. It happens. Phil Phil is a liability off the tee. Phil's short game, which was magic for 35 years, is not there anymore. He's erratic with the putter. He can summon the spirits. I can't even really do that anymore. I was gonna say he can summon the spirits of Augusta National every now and then. But since 2023, when he had that magic out of the blue runner-up finish at Augusta, he has not finished inside the top 40 of any major, and he has missed way more cuts than he has made. He has missed 5 cuts in his last 6 major championships. Phil's not good, and that's okay. Unbelievable career. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, we do the second cut podcast. We'll do round by round recaps. For those of you who are just tuning in and have no idea what we're talking about, the first cut podcast was a podcast that we did for 10 years and 1,500 episodes on CBS. They retired it. We couldn't quit it. So we made the second cut, and we do the same thing. So we do 3 to 5 episodes a week. During big weeks, we do round by round recaps. The link's in the description. You can search it. I love it. It's great. It's more of like a news storylines, best bets. I get to talk to Mark Immelman and Greg Ducharme and all that stuff. It's fun. They need to play the British Open in America one time. I don't think that's going to happen. I would play Griffin over Pendrith. If you are in the lead of your one and done, you should play Hatton. I like Ryan Fox for the top 20. If that's my option, if it's him or Brian Harman, I prefer Ryan Fox. Stickiest stats at the Open, regardless of course, probably scrambling, probably driving accuracy, and probably bogey avoidance. Something like that would probably be it. Okay, good. I've answered a lot of these, which is nice. I'm now at the point where I think I've gotten to the questions where the show has started. So that's how far behind I was, but let's see what we can do here. Okay, let's do the Jason Day deep dive. Let's do the J Day deep dive. And then I'll do that Pendrith deep dive next. So misses the cut. Oh, that was ugly. Oh, but he did. I remember that. Okay. So misses the cut at John Deere. It was miserable on Thursday. Played a lot better on Friday. Still missed the cut. That's not a huge deal. 23rd at the US Open. Yeah. I mean, he has played nine great rounds out of his last 10. This is another like savvy vet, patient, short game. Runner up at Liverpool 2 years ago. 13th at Troon last year. Yeah, this is a good one. I like Jason Day. Let's do the deep dive on Pendrith. Pendrith plays well at a lot of courses that you don't expect him to play well at. And I think it's a testament to how strong his game is. So he hasn't missed a cut since the Byron Nelson. Finished 5th at Quail. Look at the way he drives it. Really good stuff. He's got a very good short game for somebody who hits it as far as he does off the tee. I want to look at his radar real quick, just for kicks. I don't think it's going to change my mind, but having this tool has really taught me a lot about some of these players, and I just kind of want to see what he does. Primarily plays the ball left to right more than half the time out of all 3 trajectories. Works it right to left a little bit. Just kind of want to see, what he's up to, how he's trending. I just love this thing, so just want to see. Okay, cool. Yeah. $55th out of 750 in my one and done, torn between Fitz, Nikolai Højgaard, Jason Day, Henley, Xander. Ooh. Play Xander, right? 55th, you're in the top. Yeah, you're in the top 10%. It's a decent purse. 17 million, I believe, is the number. You have Xander. Yeah, run out Xander. Oh, Ryan's giving us on the ground. So he lives 45 minutes away from Portrush. He says there's a weather warning tomorrow between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., which covers the west and north coast. Yeah, I agree. I saw that. I saw that there might be some delays. I will do the deep dive on Brian Harman. I don't think I'm going to be very excited with what I see. I think he had a couple of good rounds last week. Let's see what he did. Oh, maybe I'm. Oh, wow. He played really bad on the weekend. Okay. So T50, after getting off to a good start, yikes. Saturday and Sunday were bad. Travelers was a lot better. It's a perfect golf course for him. And that's about it. So he wins the Valero. Then he goes to, 2 perfect golf courses for him, Harbor Town and TPC River Highlands, which he finishes inside the top 10, and everywhere else he just struggles, which I think is kind of the point. So yes, not very excited about Brian Harman. 1.1 million out of the money in my one and done. You should probably play out of those options, which are Hatton, Tommy, Fitz, Decky, Bobby Mack, Shane, and Morikawa. You should probably play. Oh, God. The Hatton stuff is so close. You should probably play Hatton and save those guys. Yeah, I think it's really close. It's either Hatton or Shane. I'm sorry, Hatton or Tommy. And I think it's like 60% of the time you should play Hatton and 40% of the time you should play Tommy. It is a bunch of sickos. I agree. Thank you. I'll look at first round for a second. So I don't know if we did the Russell Henley deep dive, but I've been probably been alluding to it a lot. I have a ton of Russell Henley finishing position exposure. I didn't bet him to win, but I have a ton of Russell Henley finishing position. Just hits it low, hits it straight, hits it in the fairway. Has got 3 top 10s in a row, which are 2 signature events and a major. He's a great putter. He's got freaking phenomenal touch around the greens. Finished 5th at Troon last year. Like, I have a ton of Russell Henley exposure. Here's how I would treat the first round. I would go to, first off, I would probably do this. I'd probably go to the power rankings and go strokes gain distribution for everybody in this field, how often they gain 5 or more strokes to the field. Now we're going to get some wonky stuff here because we've got guys that I've got some data on or little data on or whatever. So we're going to look at this list and we've got like Bryson, Rahm, Scotty, Neiman, Rasmus, Haotong, Lucas Herbert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So then what I'm also going to do is I'm kind of going to go to, I either want a very early tee time or a very late tee time. So out of those guys, okay. So Grazerman is my time. He's at 11:30 p.m. tonight. Holy crap. I'm going to be up all night. Oh God, that just hit me. I'm going to be up all night. Okay. Grazerman's an option because he might be done before that middle of the day bad stuff rolls in. Let me go to the end of the day, which is after it. And then if you want to get really hairy here, go with Young Han Song. He's right here. I only have 32 rounds on him. I have no idea what his deal is, but he is gaining 5 or more strokes to the field 9% of the time, and he's in one of the last groups. So he played in never mind. My data is from 2024. He must have open qualified for this. So the last stuff that I have measured for him on is from the end of 2024 is Asian Tour stuff. So that is probably him open qualifying for this event. If players continue to max out stats and become almost robotic with their skills, will we get to a point where equipment becomes a betting consideration? Yes. Is that kind of like F1? Obviously, I understand that Max Verstappen is a better driver than Yudo, I think his name is, or Nico Hulkenberg or whatever. But if we put Nico in a Red Bull and Max in a whatever Nico drives, how different would that be? There are duplicate questions here because people assume I'm not going to get to their question, but I'm going to get to it. Rahm and Schauffele or Scotty and Penge. Wow, when you put it that way, it's Rahm and Schauffele, right? Isn't that kind of crazy? Love Rasmus over Finau. If I had to parlay 4 guys for a top 30 finish, they would be if I had to. Xander, Tommy, Russell. Scotty. No. Xander, Tommy, Russell, Victor. Do you avoid players that have no open experience? No. Oh, Jeff, I've seen this question about Phil Mickelson 5 times. Believe it or not, I think I've done all of this. Deep dive on Rosner. This is, believe it or not, Jason Day. This is pretty good. When do you get downtime? You know, I do my stuff. We have not talked about Novak. What has Andrew Novak been up to? Kind of got lost in the Ben Griffin wake, didn't he? He's playing great. Well, good. It's not as good as it was. I mean, he went 3rd, 2nd win. So, I mean, I guess that was pretty good. But, you know, a couple of decent finishes in here. Played well at the Scottish, but it was the best putting week of his life. So that's probably unsustainable. Yeah, this is a little bit smoke and mirrors. His upside's like T35, I think. Not that excited about him. Do you have any golfers with high odds that can hit it through multiple windows? Well, let's look at it. Let's look for a second here. So let's do, so hold on. First off, who is that? Okay. So I'm going to look up Takumi Kanaya real quick, and I'm going to look up Bezadenhout, and I'm going to look up those two, Kanaya and Bezadenhout. So let's see here. And the reason I did that is because they were pretty split on left, straight, and right. So I kind of want to see here. Okay, Takumi works in all directions, but he only hits it low. So that's only like 3 windows. Bezadenhout, now that is a lot more well-rounded. So this is, look at that. Okay, so we've got 42% left to right, 33% right to left, 23% straight, and he hits it out. Wow. So he's got 8 or more percent in 7 windows. He's got 9 or more percent in 6 windows. That's like what Xander Schauffele has. So watch this. It's obviously, you know, windows are not, it doesn't equate to being good. It just equates to being versatile. But watching how this changes probably only a little bit. I'm going to switch from Bezadenhout's 9 windows to Xander's 9 windows. It's kind of close. Pretty good. Fun. I just love it. It's fun. We did talk about Tom Kim. We did talk a little bit about first round leaders. Did do a lot on Nick Taylor. You're high on JT and Hovland, so who'd you take straight up? Hovland. Here's Rory's here. So the question is, does Rory's high apex argue against him or is he able to flight the ball? Well, let's look. So he hits it out of every window, right? So I think his preferred, like you see him hit a lot of high fades and high draws, and he only hits the draw high, by the way. But I mean, he hits the fade out of nearly equally out of all three trajectories, low, medium, and high. He hits the draw high and medium. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. If he plays it low, he probably just plays a low fade. Would you prefer Straka, English, and Dan Brown, or Griffin, Hall, and Grazerman? Straka, English, Brown. Probably Griffin, Hall, and Grazerman. We did do the Jordan. There's like 4 questions about Jordan Spieth and Jason Day, and we did that. Here are okay, off the top of my head, the pure creativity players. Oh, God. All right. Scotty. Rahm. Lowry. JT. Fitzpatrick, Spieth. Day. Reed. Minwoo, Cam Smith, Akshay, Siwoo, Fowler. I'm going to stop there, I think. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I picked those names, but those felt like the right names to answer the question. My guess for total salary of the optimal lineup, so it has been very, very low the last handful of weeks, but majors, it usually gets closer to $50,000. So I'm going to say $49,500. Okay, we'll do Matt McCarty. It's encouraging. Oh, God, he was so good in the fall. And 2025 has not been his year. But this is encouraging. We've got 3 straight solid weeks on approach, 4 out of 5. Better results coming in. He's still not perfect, don't get me wrong. Putter's warming up again. This is definitely encouraging. Let's say a 6 out of 10. I love your content and videos. Out of curiosity, without this sounding as an insult, but is there any free content on your website? No. The free content is the hours and hours of videos and live chats and newsletters that I put out, sharing my screen, answering your questions, running the models, showing the deep dives. That's the free stuff. If you want to do it, if that works for you, cool. If not, you can subscribe to the website. But I understand what you're saying. Like, I do not take that as an insult. I have to eat. And this is my business, so it is not free. I think it's worth the price, though. I think it's very valuable if you're interested in this stuff. And I think I've raised the prices like twice in the last 10 years. And I think it's very fair. And I always grandfather you in on your pricing. So I think it's a very fair business that I run. Agree with Justin Rose. I think Justin Rose is a great option. I take Ben Griffin over Ryan Fox. I think the winning score is probably 12 under. I think the cut line is, oh God, I'm always worse at this. Wait, so hold on. 4, so half the field 2. Like even? Does that sound right? I'm much worse on that. Let's talk about Bryson. Okay, we made it this far. Let's talk about Bryson. I love Bryson gets the rap as being long and inaccurate. That's not true. Bryson is very accurate for how far he hits it. Incredibly accurate. The problem is his built-in floor with the driver is susceptible to a lot of randomness this week. You find yourself OB, you find yourself in a pop bump, you find yourself in the gorse bush, you find yourself whatever. It is not a built-in floor for the driver this week. His links record is also not very good, presumably because he's got the single length irons and wedges. It makes a lot of the short game shots very tricky for him. He has not been as good in wind. He has not been as good in just like a lot of other conditions. He has a lot of spin problems. He hits it so hard and launches it so differently that spin, the way his ball spins is very different than everybody else's, and the wind impacts it very differently than everybody else's. And historically, he has not been that good. So I give Bryson his flowers because I think he'll eventually figure this out. I just don't think this is a great setup for him. Can Jordan Spieth win this golf tournament? Yeah. Big time. That's the cut man. I don't know if it's any real golfer. No, it seems most likely to be Jordan Spieth. Let's do Wyndham Clark, the deep dive. He's such a clown. The problem is he's playing better. You know, he's played a lot better. 17th at the Travelers, 11th at the Scottish. He did miss the cut at the Rocket. My assumption is that this is not going to be good for him. We still have approach problems. Does anybody think that when we start talking about guys that are requiring patience in a war of attrition and a reasonable reaction to things going wrong for him, even if he hits a good shot, does that sound like the type of situation that Wyndham Clark can prevail in? Does it like, has Wyndham Clark in major championships this year given us any reason to think that he can keep his cool? He literally smashed a sign at the PGA Championship, and he literally kicked in lockers at the US Open, in which he still has not paid for some reason. Oh, by the way, even removing all of that, his approach play has been horrific, and his Open Championship record is not very good. Also, he's got one of the biggest curves of anybody on the tour. So now we've got a situation where Wyndham Clark, literally the highest curve golfer. You can't, hold on, but you're not going to be able to hear me if I remove myself. I'll do it this way. Literally the highest curve golfer in the field, 91 feet, by far the farthest. He only hits it left to right. So what happens when the hole goes right to left and the wind is going right to left? Or I guess the other way. I guess what happens when the hole's going, right to left and the wind's going left to right? I just like, seems like bad all around for Buddy Boy Wyndham. We did the Tom McKibben stuff. Let's do the Joaquin Niemann stuff. Very low hitter. Let's look at his Open Championship record. Surprisingly, not that good. His best finish is a 53rd. Ugh, that's not good. Coming in, obviously playing great golf. He's dominated LIV, but believe it or not, his last two have not been very good on LIV. He's lost strokes putting in 4 straight. He's lost strokes on approach in 2 straight. This is concerning. A little concerned. I mean, he's been one of the better players of the year, but not thrilled. Yes, we talked about Reed. Yes, we talked about McNeely. Yes, we talked about Hall. Yes, we talked about Rose. Denny McCarthy gut feeling is positive. Saw you at the PGA and you were kind of jacked. Jojo, the check is in the mail. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, I swear that's not my burner, but the check is in the mail. Heat check on Fitzpatrick. Can he win? Winning? Yes, he can. I don't think it's likely, but I'm very warm on Fitzpatrick. Yes, fire up Penge. I tend to play a little bit more in major championships on DFS because it usually brings in a lot of casuals, and I just want more exposure, and the purses are bigger. They are very close right now, but I believe we are on Nikolai instead of Rasmus. Can you make a case for Brooks? He's a 5-time major champion! Exclamation point. He hasn't been that good. And I remember when I said he was going to miss the cut at the US Open, and when he was the first round leader, trust me, everybody was in my menchies. Okay. Guess what? He didn't play all that great afterwards. Okay. Played all right. Hasn't been a good year for Brooks. He's losing strokes tee to green in 4 out of his last 5. Had to withdraw from Live Dallas, another tee marker clown scenario. 32nd at Valderrama. Hasn't been good in his last 3 opens. He's got some decent stuff at St. George's and Portrush here in 2019. It's okay. I don't think the 5-time major championship thing is what drives me. I think that I see a guy struggling around the green, struggling on approach, losing a little bit with the putter. It doesn't get me super excited. I think I'm going to put a pin in it there. I mean, I hate to stop. We've talked about a lot. I'm going to check to see if the tiers contest is full, because I imagine it probably is. Oh, there are like 30 spots remaining. So this is going to be full. I said it'll be full by the time the show ends. I guess it'll take a couple more minutes. There are 40 spots left, 39 spots left. So if you want to get in, now's the time, because you're not going to have any time after this. The links for everything you need are in the description. Like I said, rickrungood.com. I'm constantly making updates to it. I think is a very, very fair business that I run, and it's the only thing that I care about. So I'm always trying to make it as good as possible, and I try to treat you guys right. I have a newsletter. It's free. Links in the description. Second Cut, free. Links in the description. Everything you need that you saw today or I talked about is in the description. I appreciate it. I should probably take a nap at some point. I can't believe how early this starts. All right. Mina, shut it down. See you guys. Thanks.